Hi everyone, happy Sunday. Today we're gonna rub a pork butt. Let me show you how I do it. First, you start out with the basic 2 ingredients of a brine, sugar and salt. And it's probably about a half a cup of each. I use the pink Himalayan salt, which is a smaller crystal than kosher salt. So if you're using kosher salt, which is great, you use a little bit more. And then I use a bunch of other spices and let it sit on the meat for about 24 hours. Because it's pork, it's lightly covered. I don't need to dry it. It'll brown beautifully. So let me show you what other spices I use. Bring you over here. And let's see. I'm just really someone who likes a lot of flavor, so I use a lot of different ones. I use a lot of smoked paprika. That would probably be another large 2 to 3 tablespoons of that, maybe 4, depending on how large the butt is. Some garlic powder, gotta have garlic. A little crushed red pepper to give it some zing. Ground coriander, which I really like that flavor. A little chili powder, which is a mixture of a lot of the stuff I'm already putting in, but it just gives it, again, a little extra. Oregano, and some thyme. We're gonna mix all that up, and it's really nice looking. And just make sure it's nice and mixed up so all the flavors can blend. And then I'm going to show you the meat, which is right here. I've got a bone-in, they call it a pork butt. It's not the pig's butt, just so you know. That's just, for some reason, that's the name they gave it, whenever. It's the shoulder of a hog. So I like bone-in. It weighs more, yes, and you're paying for bone. Reason being, though, is when it cooks, that bone adds flavor, lots of flavor. And it cooks a little bit slower, which this is a cut you want to cook slow. It's not a fast dinner. This is for, you know, like 2 days from now. So they tied it all nicely for me. It's a beautiful piece of meat. And it has a very large fat cap. That's the big white piece of fat that's on top. A lot of people want to trim it. I don't. It moistens the meat, it keeps the meat from drying out, and it flavors. So I leave it on. So now I'm gonna rub the butt and you just get it all on there. And I use a sheet pan that I first cover with some wrap. You can use foil. I try not to use foil anymore, but that way you're not really getting it all that dirty. And most people's fridge won't fit a sheet pan. I am in a smaller place now, so mine doesn't, so I'm just going to then transfer this to a dish, and then just use the wrap that's got all the rest of the rub that's falling off right now to cover the meat. So add a little bit more on the top. It's also good to slice the fat a little bit, but we can do that right before we put it in the oven. This is going to rest in my fridge for a good 24 hours.